In the previous episode, Zero rejected Danyong's offer, and because of this he had used his power. Now everyone is on their knee and in pain because of Danyong's mental ability. Zero says, "Have you done with your actions?" and shows his powers that make Danyong step back. He is now on his knee and spitting blood from his mouth. After coming out of Danyong's mental ability, Jan is surprised whether he is still alive or not. Something is inspiring about Zero and his power is extraordinary. He is assured that his boss will like him. But Zero doesn't take an interest in his talking and goes to his friend, whose condition is still ill. Dong inquires Danyong about why he treats Zero like this, but Danyong considers her nothing. That's why he doesn't give her an explanation. Danyong says in his mind that he does everything to threaten Zero, but his power is beyond his thinking. He is dangerous for them. 13 shows his concern about Dong because she is in danger when they are going from here. Ian also participates in the discussion and says that they are talking about the Aoyang clan. Jan believes they will not take the Aoyang incident smoothly. They will do something. Zero tells 13 to keep an eye on Dong so they will be prepared for their attack. 13 doesn't want to take responsibility, but all insist on him, so he doesn't have any choice but to obey the order. He tells them that he will inform them if she will be in danger. Meanwhile, Zion calls her brother Zero and informs him that the experiment has become successful on the dog. She also orders him to pick up the dog and take him home. Now Zero is ready to come here and moves on the lab way. Dr. Muesli is approached and inquires about the experiment. So Zion gives him an update that dog can read and understand the books of graduation. Dr. Muesli becomes surprised that the dog understands the book, but he has to accept it by watching the book in the dog's hand. This dog can read the book without any mentor and independently understand it, so it was a great success for them. Dr. Muesli asks about psychological changes that happen during or after the experiment. She then replies that everything is fine. Even if the indicator works smoothly, there is no problem. The professor praises her skills and admires her experiment as Dr. Qin. She usually takes it and says that only a clinical trial has left in this experiment. She is also hopeful that people will consider it a milestone. Dr. Muesli says we must work hard on the research to get more scientific results. They can also make a new world with their experiment and research. She is happy to hear so much praise from Dr. Muesli, and we can see an individual who was offering the Zion to work with him. Now she tells him to leave because she has nothing to say to him, but he comes here to warn her. He says you should escape from here, because Aoyang's clan and Danyong are this lab's sponsors. He also adds that they want to do something evil, so you should stay away from this matter. She ponders on it and thinks that if the chairman is Danyong, then Dr. Qin is also in danger. She ran to Dr. Qin, but the strange person made her stop by holding her hand. He tells her that you should think from the mind. By doing this, you are endangering your life. But she says that she can't leave her comrades alone. Also, she is not a coward and says thank you for telling her the truth. She goes, and the strange person calls and tells the other side to keep Lan Wan safe. They can also call Heaven Squad for help. He also delivers his message to Heaven Squad that they must face the music if something happens to the girl. He hangs up the call and goes from here, but Dog was watching him. In the next scene, Zero catches the girl scrutinizing the facility. He tells Jan to use his secret weapon. Now Jan is also happy to use it. After that, we hear the girl scream. On the other hand, 3 more people keeping an eye on the lab. Girl is surprised that what is unique in the girl is that the master has fallen for her. They also notice the absence of their comrade girl. When Zero comes here and throws the girl in the arms of one of them, he also asks what is going on and beats them brutally. They are laying on the floor unconscious. Jan says you should keep one person in his senses to ask what they are doing here. Jan finds out a badge that belongs to the Heaven Squad. Zero reminds us that the Long clan is related to Long Wenfeng. He is chasing her sister. Zero also decides to teach him a lesson and use his power in anger, which surprises Jan. The thing that makes him mad is that he is not leaving her sister alone. In the next scene, someone calls Long Wenfeng to say that Heaven Squad is injured but alive. They also lost their memories. Long Wenfeng thinks that Danyong did this because only he can do it. He decides not to make him hurt Zero's sister. In the next scene, Lin Wan inquires about the reason for being late. Zero makes her wear a pendant and tells her to press the button if something happens. Lin Wan thinks that Zero knew about the sponsor, and she decided not to involve them in this matter, because she can put Zero's life in danger. She tells them to go from here, and Zero takes the dog to Jan's house because he is rich. Jan doesn't want to take the dog at his house, but he has to keep it. In the next scene, 13 keeps an eye on Dong's house and sees Dong doing makeup. Meanwhile, a car appears fastly like thunder and stops at her house, so he makes Zero aware of it. Because something is going to happen, that's why he tells Zero about it. In the car, young Master Aoyang has appeared and sees Dong, who is welcoming him. He came here because he is called here and fears that Dong will create trouble. He also calls her future wife and holds her chin, but she pushes his hand away. He is thankful for her for killing Aoyang, but Dong feels disgusted for his clan. This thing makes him mad and he holds her wildly. He also reveals that he is not touching her because of the older man. Otherwise, he knows how to teach her a lesson. He throws her away, and she also calls himself a gentleman because he treats her woman elegantly. Dong tells him to kill her, but he doesn't and tells her to sit in the car, because he is hopeful about life after marriage. Meanwhile, Muscle Alliance reaches here for help and young Master Aoyang's robots are ready to treat them. Dong is worried for them and he tells her to raise her standard, because they are nothing before his subordinates. He also introduces himself to all of them and says that he is the finance of Dong. But they are worried about how Dong can be the fiancé of Aoyang's clan. Now Dong is in his arm and she tells them to go from here. But they are not ready to leave her alone like this. So they attack robots, but robots are more potent than them. Dong tells Saihou to leave them, but he forcefully takes her in his car. Dong sees them beaten and she keeps her icy weapon on his neck. She constantly tells him to leave them but he doesn't listen to her. Saihou also catches the bullet in the middle of his anger. He then fires the bullet back, who shot at him. 13 is bewildered at how he can stop the bullet so quickly. Now Dong is weeping bitterly after seeing their condition. Saihou attacks him and Dong tries to stop him, but it injures 13 badly. He also slaps Dong because she tried to stop him. Dong tells Saihou that she will do whatever he asks, but he has to let them go. But Saihou changes the location and goes from here. In the following scene, Zero arrives here and saves 13 from a robot who is about to kill him through fire. He tells to 13 that he will handle the situation and kill the high-tech product robots with his sword. In the next scene, Zia knows that Zero has killed his robot. What surprises him was that he had a fire spirit sword. They are watching from the digital watch of Zia. Dong recognizes him and Zia considers the sword his dowry. Dong thinks that Zero should not involve in this. At the Dong's house, Zero is angry after knowing that the Aoyang clan is again involved in this. He wants to kill them, but Jan makes him stop and says we should think about rescuing Dong. Now Zero agrees and decides to rescue Dong from Aoyang's clan and takes avenge their comrades. We also see an ambulance that is taking 13 to the hospital. In the next scene, Yan is scared about their decision to go inside the Aoyang's clan. He says they are the most powerful and have beaten Muscle Alliance in 13. Yan says they can also send their entire force to fight with us, and he has not believed they could beat them. Jan and Zero are unfamiliar with the word fear and decide to go there to rescue them. They also calm Yan down by saying we can't leave Dong in a miserable decision. Meanwhile, another person says a hero doesn't surrender before evil personalities. He also came here to rescue Dong. Jan asks Yan if he is with us or not, and he excitedly says he is in. Now, they are discussing the plan of how they will get inside. They become happy to know that Saihou has already hacked their security, but she reveals that the dog helps her out to do that and they are getting jealous of the dog. They also has a desire to become dog. Saihou tells them tomorrow is Dong's engagement, and for the clan, it's essential, so they can do anything to make this engagement successful. After the engagement, they will not care about Dong and her life. Now Zero is furious and wants to attack soon. But Jan makes him understand that we must rescue her with a foolproof plan. Otherwise, their result will be the same as what happened to Muscle Alliance in 13. Hearing this, Zero agrees and Jan orders Jai Shan to present the demand of releasing Dong with his companions. Jan says that we will go through the walls and Saihou will hack the security system. She hacks the system and they get inside quickly. On the other hand, Saihou asks, are you sure about it? Dong then replies that it is clan's decision and she cannot do anything about it. Sai enters with Shang Guan. Saihou is so happy to meet him and he offers to go with him. Saihou is not ready to leave Dong alone, but Dong tells her to go with him. However, she doesn't forget to warn Zai not to bully Dong. When they go, Dong tells Zai to go from here, but he holds her with the help of a glass wall and also inquires about Zero. Dong then asks why you are asking and what your purpose is behind it. He throws her on the bed and tells her that he has a legendary sword and wants to make a deal with him. He also turns on his digital watch, where Jai Shan demands to set Dong free from here. He threatens her that he will kill them, and Dong is hoping that Zero is doing nothing to save her. They enter inside and Jan praises the dog who let them in with his intelligence. Yan wants to shout after seeing Zero's face, but he makes him stop by putting his hand on his mouth. The same scene happens with Jean, but he says he changed his appearance. Zero also brings a different weapon to fight with them. They get noticed by Saihou and Shang, but Saihou recognizes them and Yan becomes upset to watch her with a guy. He is possessive and tells her the disadvantages of a gentleman like Shang. Jan and Zero grab the opportunity and go inside the house. They reach Dong's room and Zhang fights with the guards like a hero. Zero goes inside, which grabs Dong's attention. She also uses her icy hand, but Zero puts off his mask. He praises her and tells her to come with him, but she refuses to go with him. He asks why and tells her to hurry because time is running out. But she says that she has promised the clan that she will not create trouble for them, so she cannot go from here. She attacks him, but he caught her icy hand firmly to get her with him. She then asks that I'm not special to you, then why do you want to save me? Zero then confesses that she is important to him, and he doesn't want to waste the injury of his friends to save her. She says that she is making a sacrifice to save them. Otherwise, they will kill them because our clan is strongest in the Sea City. Zero tells her to believe him because he will not let anyone harm his loved one. He also breaks the wall with his extraordinary power and tells her to go with him. Dong keeps her hand on his hand to go away from here. In the following scene, Zero's friend is thrown on the tree. He tells Zero that a robot beat him, and Zero tells him that he will take revenge of your pain. Zero also holds Dong's hand, and Sai accuses Dong that you are eloping with your lover. He tries to shame Dong that you are a blot on our clan's reputation. Dong then replies that your clan's reputation relies on a girl. Now Zero removes the mask and both make a deal that if Zero wins, then Saihou has to let them go. But if Saihou wins, then Zero has to give him a legendary sword. Dong refuses to do this deal because Saihou is the most muscular young man in the clan. However, Zero accepts his deal and says he is also powerful by holding her chin. In the next scene, Yan explains that they were here to rescue Dong. They also want to take revenge for their comrades. Both are in front of them and Saihou asks her sister if she is okay with that. Dong replies that it's complicated. Saihou shares his speech and uncovers the deal. If Saihou wins, then Zero has to present his sword to him, and if Zero wins, then he will break this engagement. Danyong president and Dong's family speak together because this sword is missing. Danyong and Long Wenfeng go from there because they are not interested in this fight. Saihou says that you can use your power as much as possible because this place is designed to bear any attack. Zero takes out his weapon and Saihou says my one finger is enough for you. So he decides to fight without a weapon. An intense fight starts. Saihou attacks him, but he dodges with his weapon and attacks him. Both join their punch and create massive disasters. Zai says we should start the primary fight because the starter has a finisher. Zai attacks him with his finger, and he dodges them with his sword. Now Zai makes a mistake and Zero hits him in the face, making him badly fall to the floor. Zero also compels him to praise his power, and Zai attacks him by taking out the blocks that proves in vain. After this he creates a defensive wall with his power, but Zero breaks it with his hit. Now, Zai is sweating and Zero punches his face. He calls dragon power and Zai is bewildered by seeing so much power. Now Zai tries to create a defensive wall again, but it is still useless and the attack makes him injured. Zero says that this wound is for hurting 13 and Zai is laughing. He says that you have only this power and arise all his power that creates the cross sign. That cross sign attacks the dragon and a massive explosion appears. Dong tries to move with a scream, but the president makes her stop. They all are surprised by watching that Zero is perfectly alright after the severe attack. Zero tells him to stop throwing dirt at me, otherwise my sister will get angry with him. By saying that, he kicks his face and is thrown to the wall that breaks. Dong and Saihou are both happy, and Zai spits blood from his mouth. Zero wants to stop the fight, but Zai throws something and tells him that one will die from us. President orders to get out of this place and Dong screams for Zero. Now everything destroys and Dong goes to see Zero with Saihou. President reveals that Zai used a forbidden spell created by SS rankers. Both are angry at him for using this spell. Dong calls Zero, but she sees Jan and Yan who is alright. They also see Saihou, who is in the air and calls Dong bitch. But she doesn't care and continuously calls Zero. She listens to his voice and becomes happy to see him alive. Zero tells them to stay there for some time, and after beating Zai up they will go home together. Zai is in shock at how he can be alive. He attacks him but Zero counterattacks and makes him lose. He also clicks a picture of his miserable condition and says not to torment girls again. Now Dong is moving toward him but something happens. Everyone is bent on their knees and even in the world people and animals lose their senses. Take a look upside where Saihou has become God. Now, he has extraordinary powers and wants to rule the world. Saihou wants to avenge Zero by eliminating him from this world. Zero then asks what he did with them, and he says that they are bending toward their god and they are alive. He raises the power of a lion and attacks him, but he becomes injured because he was still nothing before him. Zero says that you are an evil perverted god, and Saihou becomes mad because he calls him fake god. He considers him superior to others and able to worship. Now there is a cloud in the sky and he screams that I'm a true god. Zero says that you are bald and have power, but it doesn't prove that you are god. Saihou gives him the option to kneel or have to face death. Zero chooses to fight him back, and Sai wants to make him an example for his creation. He uses the marble floor with power and creates tornadoes to teach him a lesson. But Zero also takes out his weapon and is ready to fight with him. Sai tries to attack him, but Zero dodges it and attacks him on his back. He tells him that it is no use to become God if you don't have friends or family. Zai replies that God doesn't need any family, because his only purpose is to rule the world and ensure no evil happens. Zero is fighting with him and says you are the root of evil. How can you eliminate it? Zai tells him I'm sending you to hell so that you can meet with his sister. He attacks him, falls on the ground and takes him to another world. Here Saihou sees many faces and Zero with her sister who is dying. Her last wish is to live in peace, and we see anger in Zero's eyes that frightens him. They again jump to presents, where Zero says that he decides not to turn in his proper form, but hasn't any option. Red lightning turns him into legendary Zero, which makes Zai sweat. He can't think that Zero could be Legend Zero, and he attacks him by denying the thought that he is Zero. Now Zero makes Zai wounded with his giant lightning sword. Zai wants to show the talent that he is capable of and becomes a warrior. He again attacks him, but Zero makes him again lose with his powers of fire. Zero tells him to surrender because he can't face the most powerful person in the world. However, Zai is still obstinate and not ready to surrender in front of him, because he wants to make Zero dies at any cost. So Zero doesn't have any option. He gives him punishment and uses his fire lightning power, which makes him exhausted. Zero says that power is not the solution to all problems. But Zai says I'm hopeless in front of you because of less power. Zero kills him by saying the word redemption and he turns into ashes. Zero has again turned into his original form and looking at the sky. Saihou's dead body is lying on the floor but he is still alive. Zero didn't kill him and Sai says my power is nothing before you. I have lost this battle because of less power. Zero says, why are you chasing the power? And also gives his example that I'm the most muscular man in the world but couldn't save my sister. Zai laughs by uttering the word save. He says that Hero is born to save others. Zero then tells him to think more about it, and Saihou says that everything becomes crystal clear when a man stands on the verge of death. He says I want to eliminate the evil from this world. So, I chased the power. By chasing the power, I became the biggest evil. Zai starts weeping and Zero listens to him by turning his face on him. Saihou says that I'm unable to understand one thing, how you become so strong. Zero removes his cloth, where are so many marks on his body. He says that I have gone through many hurdles to get these powers. He has to face celestial killing sword formation and wound on his shoulder is the sign of shooting of alien cannon. Zai asks about the wound on his back. Zero says I have participated in many battles, and my body's scars are because of it. He also says that, fortunately, his hand and face are saved from the scars, so he can hide them by wrapping them. Zai looks at him with an open mouth and understood that he was on the wrong track. Zai says that after going through so many miseries, it's a miracle that you have survived. He also wants to ask about the girl he loves most, but doesn't want to talk about her. Now, Zai is turning into ashes and calls him Hero, but he stops him from calling him Hero. He inquires that if you don't want to become Hero, why do you enlist your name in the Hero Association? But Zero is also not familiar with this answer. Zai can't believe that he dies at the hands of a person who doesn't want to become a hero. It's extraordinary. Zero wants to live a simple life and it's not wrong according to his thought. In the following scene, we see the lab where everything has been destroyed. Many people are standing around the building, where we see Long Wenfeng who gets his consciousness. After getting his senses, he asks himself about Zion. He becomes relieved by seeing Zion sit with Zero. She also opens her eyes and asks Zero what you are doing here. Zero says I can't leave you in danger and reminds her about the pendant he makes her wear. She says I can't put his life in danger, so she didn't press the button. Zero, make her understand that I'm a hero and you will call me when any danger comes to you. She beat on his head and says got it. It means she has understood and calls him when the need arises. Scene changes to the sea where Zero is watching the sunset. He remembers the moments that he spent with Dong. The scene again changes in the present, where Dong is also with him. Zero asks are you leaving? And she says I have even bought the tickets to go from here. Dong is going to Hero Academy to teach the heroes, because Zero told her that she could do what she wanted. Before going from here she kisses him and calls Zia her hero. Now Zero decides to live his life as he promised his sister to live the life. After this episode ends, watch the video of the left side if you have missed the previous video, and subscribe to Annie Summary for more anime recaps.